I put together a little meal prep display. And last session I did this, but I did it kind of in a different manner because I figured you guys could watch the recordings from, session to session. Last time what I did was I had a bunch of examples of foods that you can have that are pre-prepped, your frozen broccolis and your frozen asparaguses and all that, and quick grab and goes. And I did a lot of what I'm doing today as well. But today, what I thought I would do is I would pull recipes from the actual meal plan that you just received, so that we can put to good use the actual plans and a couple of recipes so that you can see how I prep without spending an entire day in the kitchen. So I've worked all day just like you guys have. And typically, right about now, I'm scrambling myself, trying to figure out what to make for dinner. And in my house, it has become my responsibility solely to be the dinner person. So it is very stressful for me. And so what I like to do is kill three birds with one stone, if not more. I like to kill many birds with one stone if possible, because if I can make multiple dinners in one shot, that's how I like to do it. And I know that typically um, there's a lot of people that like to meal prep on Sundays and do the whole extravaganza on Sundays. But and if that works for you, great. But the problem I have with that is the shopping, the overall prepping and the cleanup and the time that it takes on that one day. And honestly, I got off my last call at 5:30 and I whipped this all up, which was too much. But I'm making 9 dinners and 6 sets of Pronuts and a couple of other things. So, but my point in telling you this is that what I'm going to show you today is I want you to pretend 3 separate occasions. Okay, this is not what I do in one night ever, ever. Only when I'm showing you guys. Okay, so I'm gonna have you pretend 3 separate occasions. All right, and because this is more of a workshop type situation and not a presentation, I have my ear done so I could hear you, and you guys are welcome to ask questions while I'm cooking. I have my camera. I'm going to turn everything around and I'm just going to kind of do a cooking show for you all. Okay. So there I am. Okay. One thing that has come up multiple times this week is getting more greens in, getting more veggies in, and fibrous ones. So Brussels sprouts. So I said I would start out today with a quick demo on how to make Brussels sprouts because I know my mom, she's a great cook, but our moms did not know how to make Brussels sprouts. Our moms prepared Brussels sprouts by making them, boiling them basically. And that is not how to make Brussels sprouts. So I'm going to quick throw these on so that you can see what and how to quick make Brussels sprouts. And I'm not going to make a whole batch because I just want, there's a trick to this. There's a trick to this, okay? So Brussels, what you're going to do is first off, just cut them in half. There we go. We're just going to slice them right down the middle, okay? Now, I find that when we overcook the Brussels, they taste and smell like cabbage, and that is where we lose people. So this is the foolproof trick on getting them right. Now, obviously, if I had more time, I would clean them and make them all pretty, but for today's purposes, I'm just showing you really quick how to do this, okay? So we have the Brussels just like this, okay? So the next thing we're gonna do is I'm gonna turn on my stove, and there's also a trick to that as well. I'm gonna just spray it with my spray, okay? And now I'm going to take the Brussels and I'm going to throw them on, and I'm going to try and get them all face down. Okay. Just going to let them sit on there. Now, obviously, if I was doing this for my family, I would put on a lot more Brussels. I got to get this camera trick right. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to open up here, get my little salt. Wait till you guys see my little carousel that I discovered. So I put all my seasonings in these little. Isn't that so cute? So I just little salt, little pepper. So now you're thinking, is this pan going to explode any second now? It's getting hot for sure, but I don't see any steam yet, but it's sizzling. So I'm just going to wait for this to get a little hotter, and I could hear it sizzling. I'm going to try and bring my camera a little closer for you guys. Now, right when I have a really nice sizzle going on, here's where the magic happens. Sorry if I'm making you guys dizzy. Now, I happen to know the trick. You guys hear it sizzling? I'm going to take a 1/4 cup of water, get all that steam going, cover it up, and I'm going to wait for that to just kind of disappear. So what's going to happen is they're going to kind of caramelize. But I have to stay right here because this water is going to disappear really quick. And you could see it's disappearing. But they're not boiling. They're kind of just simmering. Water's disappearing. Now I'm going to turn the heat down. Take the lid off. You can see they've changed color already. I'm going to flip. They're still a little hard and they're not browned yet. So I'm going to leave them here until the bottoms are brown and until I can get this fork through. And they will be to die for. So if you've not had Brussels this way, I'm telling you, they're like candy. You will not be able to stop eating them. So, but it does take a little trick to getting them just right. So I'm going to be listening to the crackling in the background so that I can get that going for you. Okay. All right. So it looks like there's some people waiting in the room here. And all right. So next, what I'm going to make is I have a couple things on tap. Like I said earlier, I want you to pretend that these are 3 separate days. I would not typically come home and make multiple meals like this, okay? So the first thing that I want to make is something I'm going to put it in the Instapot, and hopefully it'll get done by the end of today's show. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the chicken pot pie soup from month 2 plan, okay? And instead of making 1 batch, I'm going to make 1 for tonight's dinner, and then I'm going to make 2 more at the same time. That's not going to take me any more time that I'm going to put in the freezer for 2 other nights. And I love doing this because it always comes in handy. Not yet. Always comes in handy on those days that you need it. Okay. So come on over to this side of my kitchen where I have my Instapot. Okay. So my recipe. First of all, you guys all have this recipe. It might seem confusing, but it really is not when you break it down. I have Ziploc bags here. Because I'm going to make one in the Instapot, and I'm going to do the others in Ziploc for the other 2 that I'm going to put in the freezer. Okay, so here we go. Again, keep in mind, just worked all day, got to make dinner. So the best way to do this is you want to support these in bags. Okay, now the point of me doing this is I did not go to the store. I ordered this on Instacart, and I just ordered 3 of everything. I knew I was going to do this, so I just tapped 3 of everything. Okay, so, oh, look at this. So because I know that these are done, I'm going to turn this off. I'll get back to this later. I have iron fingers. Okay, so first thing, chicken. I'm going to throw, it's 2.5 pounds of chicken. This is 5 pounds, so I already know that. I'm going to split that in half. 2 go in here. And then 1 is going to get cut down the middle. Easy peasy. So 1 is cooking. And if you guys didn't know this about the Instapot, I already actually turn it on as I am cooking because it takes some time to heat up. Okay, so that's done. And then in my other one, I have my other 2.5 pounds. There we go. Okay, next we have onions, and I want you to see how I do the onions. Not everyone in my house likes onions. My husband will not eat them. He likes to pick them out. So I put them in whole for a couple reasons. 1, I don't have time. 2, they cut up really easy once they're cooked. Easy, okay? Next, we have cauliflower. Recipe calls for half a cauliflower in each batch, and it asks to have them broken up into pieces. So you can break it up into pieces as you do it. And for the ones that I'm going to freeze, I'm going to leave them whole.
Can I ask a
If you
question?
want, break it up into pieces. Okay. Next, we have, I had an extra one, so I'm throwing it in here. And that's the thing with the recipes, you can always add more vegetables. This recipe calls for celery, but because we have family members that don't like the celery, I am not including the celery. So easy peasy. And so now we have the potatoes. The recipe called for a 1.5 pounds of potatoes. So I did weigh this out in advance. And if I wasn't doing this for demonstration purposes, I would make sure that my portions were equal, where because I'm doing this in a rushed manner, I'm going to eyeball it and put in 1/3 of each to make sure that it is pretty equal. So potatoes, potatoes, and potatoes. Okay, so essentially now I have made dinner and I have 2 frozen. Now all I have to do is throw in the spices. And really, that's the easy part. So I have my lemon right here. Grab my tablespoon. Now I am going to go ahead and put this right in here because I don't want to have to deal with this later on. Again, it's not taking me any extra time to do this. Then I'm going to grab my garlic powder and salt and cumin. And also, if you see a spice like cumin, for example, that you don't have and you don't know what it is, you don't have to use it. It's not going to ruin your recipe. So, and I'm actually going to skip the salt because that's just how I roll. Okay. Now, the last thing is 4 cups of water. I'm not going to put the water in there because obviously it's going to cause an issue. So my 4 cups of water is going to go in the Instapot. I'm going to put my lid on. That's done. Now I'm going to take this, zip it up. And zip this one up. And put these in the freezer. So I made dinner, but I also made dinner for 2 other nights and it's done. I mean, the only thing I have to do now for this is add the water, stick it in the Instapot, just done. It took me no extra time, literally. The only thing different was I just had to buy the extra groceries. Okay, so that's that. All right. Questions on the pot pie? What a Brussels should look like. Have you guys had Brussels like this? No,
Yes.
Kathy, you've not had a Brussels like this?
Yes.
Hold on.
Nope, I make them on the Blackstone, like on the grill, but I've never made them like that, and it looks amazing.
They're literally like candy.
Yeah.
Because they're not, I'm trying to describe the taste of them. Almost like a broccoli. They're still very like chewy. Where Brussels sometimes are cabbagey, and these are not all like that. So definitely give that a whirl. Turkey taco soup. Okay, you take pound of turkey, and I'm doing this on the actual stovetop, as you can see here. You can do this on the crock pot, Instapot, whatever pot you want. Okay. Then, just as the ingredients say, a can of black beans. Now, be sure to rinse these because you will take out half the salt and the sodium by rinsing them. Also, kidney beans. Now, I think it says chili beans, but I did kidney beans. A can of corn. Diced tomatoes with the chilies in them. And tomato sauce. Now, at the same time, You got your 2 Ziplocs and you're doing your thing. I have all my cans open. That's simmering. My spices. Oh, it asks for, this calls for a can of beer, but instead I'm going to do water because it does give you the option to do water. So I'm going to do a and fill this up. Now, one thing I didn't mention that is really important is on these, you should label what you made and also label what you need to add to it because you will forget. So on here, you want to write add 1 cup of water and on the other one, add 4 cups of water. And so this particular recipe also calls for additional spices. So if you want to add the spices, you can add the spices, but the purpose of me doing it without the spices is to show you that something like this, and I don't have the recipe in front of me, but the half a teaspoon of garlic powder and the half a teaspoon of onion powder and the half a teaspoon of cumin. There's a lot of people in the program that get really intimidated by seeing all those little spices, turmeric and bay leaf, and you don't need to use them. You can just do without it. And here I have 2 dinners that are going to come in such handy for me on a rainy day. Actually, I have 4 now. Okay, so that is that. Just now and went, what smells? So that is what we have. Super easy. This will be done in no time. Okay, got the beef. Rip off the tops here. I'm going to do all 3. So let me show you my setup here. Now, this is assuming you buy your beef like this. If you don't, you could just use Ziploc. Okay. All right. So I'm going to actually use these as my prepping containers. Okay. So I have my egg. Okay. So you have 2 choices now. This is done. You could mix it all up. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take each one of these now. I'm going to slip it in a container like this. I'm going to freeze them stacked up this way. And they're going to freeze solid just like this. So when I take them out, the day I'm ready to make the meatballs, everything will thaw out, and it will thaw out, and it will look just like, exactly like this. And in that case, what I do then is I dump this into a bowl, mash it up, make my meatballs, and prepare them. Your other option is to make your meatballs and freeze them as meatballs. It really just depends on how much time you have. Me, I like doing it this way. I feel like this is the hardest part, having the ingredients out, having all this out is by far to me the biggest hindrance in meal prepping. If I take this out, if I had this ready, I had this out this morning, I could pop these out, make meatballs, stick them in the air fryer, be done. It would be completely mindless, but everybody's got their own routine. And honestly, if I bought 6 of these, if this was a family favorite, I could buy 6 of these and make 6 of these just as easy, stick them all in my freezer. So super done, super easy. And then obviously you just have to make the sauce. So the hardest part is really essentially done. One thing I just really dislike doing is baking. It's not my thing. Not my thing. So when I bake, it's literally go big because I don't like to do it. So I came up with this concept and I just love it. I'm actually going to switch cameras. Okay, I just love it. So I am going to make the Pronuts. Um, people make Pronuts. You got to take out all these ingredients. I did this with the muffins last time I did this little episode. You're going to make one, you might as well make a bunch. So same thing, get your bags out, line them up. I keep going in the store taking out bags. They're probably all over the house. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, really, however many you want to do. And you'll have like 5 sheets of these in your freezer. Okay. So the day you decide you're going to make these, take them out, let it thaw out on the counter. Doesn't take that long. Mix it just like this. You do not need to take out a measuring bowl. But don't go all crazy because if you pop a hole in here, you're screwed. This is, oops, and make sure you zip it right because obviously you just saw that happen. Okay. Now, I do this all the time. I don't need any utensils whatsoever. This is completely mixed. Now, I get up my donut. Little spray. I lose the spray. I just don't know if you have to spray the silicone. I've not, do you guys know if you have to spray the silicone? I always do. Okay, so now I have this, it's mixed. Get it all down there. Be careful with this step. Do I have chocolate on my nose? Oh, you guys can see it. Done. So these beauties are going to go in the air fryer. And I will show you that right now. Air fryer's over there. You guys. There's the air fryer right there. $8 minutes, done. And I do that all the time. So now I have 5 more in the freezer ready to go. And you literally will not need any utensils whatsoever. It's the easiest thing ever. And then my new favorite thing, which I want to talk to the entire program about because I'm obsessed, is this. It's so good. It's got this nice little, it's not spicy. I don't like spicy. It's got this nice little like hang to it. Let's throw a little of that on there. Are your mouths watering? I'm gonna try this. My family's in the other room like, Mom, hurry. Crazy. So good.